What's going on, everybody? Let's get this going. Giants, Raiders, the Tank Bowl. But I don't want to start with that. I want to start with how many games there's been this week. Holy heck. I mean, 3 games on Christmas, another game, another pair of games yesterday. I mean, I saw something. I wasn't paying full attention to the Steelers Browns game because I was watching everything. But how are Jim Nantz and Tony Romo doing Browns Steelers in week 17? That just seems a little bit OD to me. With how many games there's been, it's just too much at this point. I mean, I get it. The NFL is king. They're gonna make a ton of money on every single game that they schedule, but you gotta scale it back a little bit. It's getting to a point where it's too much. Too much. The Christmas Day is the NBA's day. The NFL does not need to come in and walk over that. The NBA can have one day, Roger Goodell, one day. But as for this Giants Raiders game, I talked about it in my episode that I posted yesterday. But I'm really split on whether I want the Giants to win or lose. Because, listen, the Giants have their guy in Jackson Dart. They have their quarterback of the future. I don't like this conversation of Dart versus Mendoza. The Giants have had so many quarterbacks, so many head coaches in the last however long it is. You're still going to need a head coach, but at least at this point, you have your quarterback. You have your guy in Jackson Dart that you could build around. I don't want to be shuffling around any longer. I don't want a new guy that has to learn a new system in this building. I don't think it's necessary. I get it. Dart has some health concerns. You don't know how long his career is going to last based on how he plays the game of football. But at the end of the day, you finally have a good quarterback. You finally have promise from your quarterback. I don't know why you would want to change that. So I think it's more worthwhile to win the game and start building a culture. Remember when the Giants beat the Chargers and the Eagles earlier this year, and the bonds that started to form between these players, the energy that Dart and Scat were bringing to the team, it was infectious. It seemed like the guys finally liked playing with each other and they were playing for each other. The Giants need to start building that kind of culture, and it happens by winning. The only thing that losing does is splits up the locker room. It's a test. It really tests the players. It tests the coaches of, are we really in this together? Are we one unified group? Or are we going to get split up when the times get tough? And for the Giants, they've gotten split up. I mean, there hasn't been a ton of stuff that's came out, but whether it was Abdul Carter falling asleep in meetings, like that kind of stuff, it's unnecessary. You don't need it in your locker room, and it's something that's easily avoidable. But getting to the game now, Giants have the ball first. False start on them. I think it's third and short, either second or third and short. I was talking to the camera. I wasn't paying full attention to the game. Jermaine Illuminor is the culprit there. Yep, definitely a false start. But that's the other thing. Like, that's the coaching. You need the discipline. You need your guys on the same page. So 3rd and 3 becomes a 3rd and 8. Hasn't that been the story of the Giants season? You got a chance to pick up a first down on a 3rd and short. Instead, now it's a 3rd and long, and you're probably going to have to punt. 4 wide receiver look for the Giants. Dart drops back. He'll look to pass. Fires over the middle to the outside. It's complete. A first down up on the sidelines. That's Wan'Dale Robinson. And the Giants quickly now into Raider territory. Well, I stand corrected because a 3rd and 8 turns into a first down and a 15, 20-yard pickup for New York. Let's see. Nice little out route here from Wan'Dale. Oh, he got the Raiders. The DB and the linebacker hung up. They ran into each other, and he broke loose wide open. Easy pickup for the Giants. Play action on first down. No, Dart looks back. He has to evade pressure. Now he slips and falls. Giants are backed up to their own 40 after being on the Raider 45. Let's see. Play action didn't really get anyone to fake. 3 men in the backfield for the Raiders. And Dart goes down without contact. He just slipped on that grass. Lost his footing. And it was over from there. 2nd and 24 for the Giants now. Not the kind of play you expect out of Dart to start the game. Here he'll look to pass again. Loads up over the middle, has a guy, and it's dropped. He had a target open. Daniel Bellinger was the intended target. It hit off Bellinger's hands, but when he went to make that football move, out came the ball. Taking another look at this. No one in the area. Completely wide open right at midfield. He caught it, and then he got hit. It came out on the contact, I guess, but that's a ball you should have. What's up, assholes? That's a play the Giants have. So quickly now it's 3rd and 24. Not the best opening drive. Let's see what Kafka can dial up here on 3rd and very, very long. And it's going to be another false start. Giants will have a 3rd down and 30 yards to go. Let's go back to the argument of tanking. Are the Giants wanting to have a false start? Let's see. I think this play call is going to determine a lot. Who do you think is going to win? I'm going to put my money on the Raiders, partly because I'm a Giants fan and I don't really care what happens in this game. But if the Giants get the number 1 overall pick, it's better than having the number 2 overall pick. The Giants are 0-8 on the road this season. A check down on 3rd and 29 to Tracy, who picks up about 5 or 6 yards. So it'll be a 4th and 26 for New York. But I do think the Raiders will win. The Giants will get the number 1 overall pick. Usually the Giants get a couple culture wins at the end of the year. It doesn't seem like that. Or they'll lose this week and then beat the Cowboys out of nowhere at MetLife next week. So I do think the Raiders will win. I don't think it really benefits or hurts the Giants. At this point, the season is long gone. So it doesn't really matter what happens. Winners don't tank. Tanking is for losers. But right now, this iteration of the Giants, they are losers. With Kafka, I know Shane Bowen's gone, but with all these coaches, they are losers. The defense is full of losers. The only guys that I think on this team are winners are Jackson Dart and Malik Neighbors. There's no one else that I think is a real, and I guess Wandale a little bit. There are guys that can contribute on a winning team. But right now, this isn't a group that is primed to win games. This isn't a group that is close to winning games. I mean, if you had Neighbors in this conversation, if you had Scat in this conversation, maybe they're picking outside of the top 10. But the fact of the matter is, you don't have those guys right now. And getting those guys back next year, it's going to be a huge boost to both the locker room and the product on display. Because if the Giants do end up picking 1st or 2nd, which I assume they will at this point, and they draft a wide receiver, if you can have Dart throwing to Neighbors, Wandale, Robinson, and another young target, I think that's real. That's a real team right there. The problem then is the defense, which needs a complete overhaul this offseason. The Giants tried doing it last year by bringing in Paulson Adebo, bringing in Javon Holland, Brian Burns, 2nd year. You draft Abdul Carter. I thought the defense was going to be better this year. Honestly, I thought the defense was going to be better than the offense. I liked what I saw out of Drew Phillips in his rookie year. Tyler Nubin showed us some flashes. But the reality is, there's no one on that defense. Dexter Lawrence is one of the best tackles in the National Football League. But other than that, there's not much. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau was a top 5 pick. He certainly hasn't lived up to that standard. I mean, Brian Burns has put together a nice season. You can live with that. But the rest of the defense doesn't have anyone. They don't have the coaches to go along with it. So to answer your question, I get winners don't tank. But this version of the New York Giants does not include many winners. All right, we're coming back from commercial. Let's see what Geno Smith and the Raiders offense can put together here. How's Pete Alonso doing? You know, the Mets aren't doing anything. Pete Alonso's down in Baltimore now. He's not really doing anything because it's the offseason. But it sucks. It sucks that Pete's gone. It sucks that Jeff's gone. As much as I hated Jeff McNeil, throughout the end of his Mets tenure, the last 2 years in particular. He had his moments. He was part of those teams that I grew up with, as was Brandon Nimmo and Edwin Diaz for a while. So like it sucks that all those guys are gone, but the reality is this team needed to be shaken up in a real way, and David Stearns is doing that. He's doing what had to be done. And yeah, it sucks right now because they haven't made any real additions, but you can't be mad at getting rid of guys that didn't do it for them. Geno Smith downfield, he's got a guy. Incomplete, stepped out of bounds. So it'll be a 3rd and 12. Giants had a tackle for a loss on 1st and 10. Raiders tried to run it up the middle with Ashton Jeanty. A whole contingent of Giants were there. Yeah, I don't think he had both feet down. Yeah, certainly not. I want to get eyes on this Bills-Eagles game. I don't have another screen to put it on, though. Let me see. I can do it on my phone. 3rd and 12 from inside the Raider 15. Smith drops back. He'll look to pass. Fires over the middle. He's got it. That's his tight end. Not Brock Bowers. Because the Raiders decided to hold out both Brock Bowers and Max Crosby in this game. It's chess, not checkers, folks. Which is another aspect of it. Meaning the Raiders want to tank. They need a quarterback this year. They can't go another year with Geno Smith or another stopgap quarterback. They're ready to, I don't know if Pete Carroll comes back for another year. I don't know if his career is over. I would hate for him to go out this way because he is a legendary coach at the end of the day. But if this is it for Pete Carroll, from a Raider perspective, you need a culture change. You need a new quarterback. You need a new head coach. You're probably clean housing. The Raiders challenge. I missed the play. You should get 2 TVs in your studio. Yeah, if my studio is outside of this room, there's two TVs out there, but I can't see them from inside the studio. So we got all the games on now. That problem is fixed. I think they're challenging the spot of the call. So we're going to go to the Hawkeye system in the first year of its use. But a commercial break first, because, of course, that's how the NFL works. And in this day and age, that's how all sports work. We got to go to a commercial break for a review that's going to take 2 seconds. All right, let's take a look at how the landscape of the NFL, the playoff picture, how it's coming along. So if I'm looking at the playoff clinching scenarios right now, the Broncos clinched the AFC West with the Chargers loss yesterday, so they're division champions. They needed a lot to clinch the number 1 seed. I'm trying to pull it back up right now. But if you look at the teams who have clinched on the AFC side, the Bills, the Broncos, the Jags, the Chargers, and the Patriots. It's a weird AFC this year. It really is. There's no Mahomes in the playoffs. I know he wouldn't have played anyway because he's down with the ACL, but the Chiefs weren't making the playoffs if Mahomes stayed healthy anyway. I think they were already eliminated by the time he went down. It's just weird not seeing him in the playoffs. There's not going to be Lamar Jackson or the Ravens, I would assume. They're on the bubble, according to NFL.com. I can't see it happening. But like the Bengals. I know that's not that crazy. It's really the Chiefs in that eliminated pool where it just looks weird. And then on the NFC side, the Lions were really coming on. I didn't expect them to have as bad a season they did this year, but you can't have everything. If you're a Lions fan, it's just weird. The both sides of the bracket really this year. Seahawks in line for the number 1 seed right now. I don't know how that happened. Sam Darnold, I guess you could see it. So Sam Darnold has a comeback year, a breakout year with the Vikings last year. He signs in Seattle for a ton of money. And him and Jackson Smith and Jigba just have an unbreakable connection. They've both been dominant all year long, which is leading them to the number 1 seed. They've also got a really good defense. The Seattle defense is always good, I feel like, but this year in particular, It is one of their better defenses that they've had in a while. And then I'm just going down the list. So NFL.com has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. The Bears are listed number 2. I think they're a really interesting story, and I think they're a team that can really make a run at it. Oh, the Giants game is back. The call was upheld, so the Raiders punted it away. It was a good punt from the Raiders punter. So the Giants are pinned back pretty deep in their own territory to start their second drive of the game. But the Bears with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and a bunch of guys over there, Colston Loveland, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. I can't think of their running back's name. It's I don't know why I'm blanking on it. He's pretty good. I'm thinking about that game against the Packers right now because that game was peak football. It was that's the game that when you're tuning into a Saturday night game late in the NFL season with so much on the line, the NFC North, the driver's seat to the NFC North title on the line, that is exactly the game you wanted to see. Went into overtime, back and forth battle. I know Jordan Love went down with a head injury. And by the way, that was not a dirty hit by Cleveland whatsoever. But that game, like overall, it was like Malik Willis looked awesome. Everything was just pure good football. And both times the Packers and Bears have faced off recently, which is in the last 3 weeks. Both of their meetings this season have come. They've been really good matchups and matchups that the Bears should have won. That first matchup where they lost, where Caleb Williams floated that ball to the end zone, he didn't get it high enough and it was intercepted. That was a bad play by Williams. And that's something that's not going to happen come playoff time. I think in a playoff setting, Caleb Williams is going to show up. I think he's going to be a guy who has the poise, who has he has it. It in sports is something you can't really describe. It's just something when you watch sports, when you watch enough sports, you know what it is. And Caleb Williams seems to have it. He's got the feel for the big moments. He wants the ball in the last minute of a game. And come playoff time, that's huge. Like Patrick Mahomes is a guy who has it. When the game is on the line, when he has 13 seconds to get into field goal range against the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs, he is going to do it. He has that it factor. And that's something I think Caleb Williams is going to have. It just by watching him from college to the point where he is now, I think he has it. I think the Bears are a real contender this year in their first year. With Ben Johnson, they look like a real contender. And the NFC is pretty weak this year. Like, I don't know. I think the Rams are really solid. The Seahawks, I'm not completely sold on. If I had to make an NFC Championship game prediction right now, I'm going Bears-Rams. And honestly, I think the Bears are going to win that game. I know the Rams have looked so solid, by the way, in the Giants game. To absolutely no one's surprise, the Giants went 3-and-out and had to punt it away again. But getting back to what I was saying, I think NFC Championship is Rams-Bears right now. And I think it's the Bears who come out on top and head to what are we, Super Bowl 57, 58 at this point? I'm going to guess 57. It's going to be held. Wow. Super Bowl 60. I am behind. Wow. I was a couple years off. So Super Bowl 60 out in San Francisco at Levi's Stadium. I think Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and the Bears could be suiting up for that game. And then on the AFC side of the bracket, I think there's even more confusion because everyone is good, and I think everyone has a chance at it. The Broncos, well-coached, good young quarterback. They have the flair for the dramatic. Patriots, good head coach, good young quarterback, awesome defense, very physical defense. I love the Patriots defense. They're in the mix. The Jaguars, looking at this field right now, I don't know. Out of the teams, they're the weakest in my mind. Good quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. I don't think I'm going to call him young anymore because he's been in the league for quite some time at this point. But, I mean, compared to the other teams, they just don't have as much in my mind. I don't think they're as good. The Bills, they're always going to be in the mix. Josh Allen, top 3 quarterback in the National Football League. Good head coach in Sean McDermott. They have the playoff pedigree. They have the experience. And listen, there's no Patrick Mahomes standing in their way this year. So if there's a year that the Bills are going to do it, it is this year because they don't have to face their arch nemesis. They don't have to game plan for Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo in their final year playing up at their stadium. I was going to say Orchard Park, but they're going to stay in Orchard Park. It's just a new stadium. They've got a real chance at it this year. The Texans, I don't know if they have enough offense, but their defense is tremendous. They are going to win a lot of low-scoring games. And I want to talk about that Texans-Chargers game from Saturday because that was just brutal. From a Chargers standpoint, Cameron Dicker got his first Pro Bowl selection, and the next game, he misses a field goal at the end of the first half. And then he misses an extra point at the end of the game. And you lose by 4 points. That is just heartbreaking, gut-wrenching. Exactly the opposite of what you want to see and what you expect to see out of your kicker. If you have a Pro Bowl kicker on your team, you need those kicks. I get it. They've clinched the playoffs already. But you need that game because that's a win that gives you the confidence. That's a win that lets the league know, that puts the league on notice. It's a statement game against the Texans, who might be my AFC favorite right now. I know they don't have the offense, which makes me want to favor a team like the Patriots, but I don't know about Drake May rather. Like I said, Caleb Williams has what I think is going to play in the playoffs. I don't know what Drake May is. Coming out of North Carolina, he didn't play a ton of huge college games. Coming out of North Carolina, I didn't expect him to do what he's done this season. So either he continues to prove me wrong and the Patriots go on a run, or he folds in the big moment and the Patriots are eliminated early. I could honestly see either happening because he does seem like a gamer to me, but at the same time, he also seems like a guy who might not have it in a big moment. I don't know. He let the Patriots into Buffalo early in the season on prime time and got a win. But other than that, what have the Patriots done this year? What have the Patriots done? And this is the biggest argument against them. They haven't had the strength of schedule. They haven't faced a stiff competition. But good teams beat who's in front of them, and that's what the Patriots have done this season. So that's the thing I'll say. The Patriots haven't played necessarily the toughest competition, but at the same time, they haven't played no one because yeah, they beat the Patriots, or the Bills rather, early in the season. But then when they played up in Foxborough, the Bills got the best of them. It was a huge comeback for the Bills. I think they won 31. They had 30-plus points in that game. I forget what the final score was. It was a couple weeks ago at this point. But other than that, if I'm going to take a look at the Patriots schedule right now, I'm going to need a second to pull it up here. As the Giants, is that a sack or did Geno Smith get rid of it? Brian Burns was in the backfield, had the first hit on Geno Smith. I think Smith was able to get rid of it. He was falling, just pushed it out in front of him. He was outside of the tackle box, though. So no intentional grounding, but continuing to try to find the Patriots' schedule. Did they have a bye week? Oh, I guess they had a bye this week. Or I just scrolled past them. Okay, so last week they won on Sunday Night Football. They beat the Ravens 28-24 in Baltimore. Granted, the Ravens aren't... No, what am I talking about? The Patriots just beat the Jets by 1,000,000 points. I don't know why that just hit me. But going back to what I was saying, the Patriots beat the Ravens, a close game in Detroit, or not Detroit, Baltimore on Sunday Night Football in primetime last Sunday, which is a good win. The Ravens aren't tremendous this year. In fact, they're probably not going to make the playoffs, but they've been better as of late. Derrick Henry just had a huge game against the Packers last night. I'm all over the place right now. But getting back to the Patriots as the Raiders, I am everywhere and nowhere right now. The Raiders are in field goal range in the Giant game. But again, getting back to the Patriots, outside of that, they beat the Panthers, who have beat some good teams. They beat the Bucks, who are they in the playoffs? I think they're on the bubble, according to NFL.com. They lost to the Steelers. Like, there's just not enough quality wins for me to consider them the AFC favorite in the playoffs. That's what I'm thinking right now. But they very well could be, because you don't know what you're going to get out of Drake May. And Mike Vrabel is a really good head coach. We saw it in Tennessee. We saw it with the Titans, where he brought them to the playoffs a couple times. Granted, he had Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill when he was good. Here we go. Geno Smith from the red zone, the 12-yard line. It's intercepted. The Giants take it away, because, of course, they can't let the Raiders score. This is Bobby Okereke, I think, bringing it back into Raiders territory. All the Giants with a takeaway in the red zone. The Tank Bowl. Okay, do you want the Giants to win, or do you want the Giants to lose? Bobby Okereke does not want to lose. The Raiders have a chance to strike first, but the Giants say no. All right, I don't hate it. Like I said, if we win, I'm happy. If we lose, I don't really care. It's not that big a deal to me, because the season's lost, and you don't need the number one pick to take who you're going to select. The Raiders are going to select Fernando Mendoza. They need a new head coach. That's pretty much a foregone conclusion in my mind. You don't need a new quarterback. You need a safety. You need a linebacker. You need a DB. You need someone else. You don't need the number one overall pick to take your top choice in that regard. So if you have the number one overall pick, fine, whatever. It's better to have your pick of everyone than of one less person. But if you don't, it's also not going to be that big of a deal. It's just so funny to me how the Giants have to make these plays. This is going to be they're going to win this game. After seeing that, they're going to win this game. And I know it's probably jumping to a conclusion a little bit too soon, but this is the kind of game the Giants like to win. And if they win, so be it. I can't hate on it. You can never hate on a win as a fan. It's just not something you're allowed to do. If you're a Raider fan, I expect the tank a little bit more, because, like I said, you need that quarterback. You need the culture shift. The Giants don't need that. So from a Raider perspective, yeah, if you want to lose, so be it. Like, I'm not mad at a loss for the Raiders, because they need a guy like that. Let's take another look at this pick. Right over the middle into double coverage. That's the kind of throw of a guy who's tanking. But if I'm Geno Smith, I wouldn't want to be tanking, because the draft pick is going to take my job. Let's take a look at Geno Smith's contract. I wonder how much he has left on it, or if it was just a one-year deal with the Raiders. No, we signed a 2-year. Let me see. That was what Google said. I'm going to go into Spotrac. He should have another year, I think. But he's getting up there. He'll be 36 years old next year. So maybe he works as the mentor for the Raiders' new quarterback. Giants have it in plus territory immediately. Jackson Dart in the offense back out there for the third time today. Taking a look at the Bills game, still knotted at 0. 5 minutes gone by in the first. The Bills have the ball. I think it's been a long, methodical drive for them. Here's Dart to the outside. That's a completion. Wan'Dale Robinson might have had a first down. Yeah, Bills are in Eagle territory just beyond the 50-yard line. I know I'm bouncing back and forth again here. So let's go back to some of the other stuff that we were talking about. So who's my pick for the AFC Championship game? Right now, I think the Texans are there. I think that's the team I can confidently say is there because of their defense. Defense wins championships in the NFL playoffs, especially having a good defense is huge. And then I think I'm going to take the Bills. They haven't been as dominant as they've been in years past, but Josh Allen is a big-time player, and big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. They don't have to face Mahomes. I think this is the year they get to the AFC Championship. I know they've been there before, but they'll get there and have the best chance of winning this year. Now they've got a 3rd and 7. Allen drops back. Flush from the pocket, and he's sacked. A huge sack from the Eagles, and it's going to bring on the punting unit for Buffalo. And then my pick to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl this year, as the Giants, Tyrone Tracy down to the 1-yard line. But what I was saying, my pick to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl is the Houston Texans. I think they have it. I don't think the Bills are going to be able to get there. I think they might be a cursed franchise. I just don't think they have it this year. Like I said, they haven't been as good as they've been in previous years. And I think the Texans, in DeMeco Ryans' 3rd year as head coach, they've gone to the playoffs all 3 seasons. The first year, they beat the Browns, I want to say. That was the Joe Flacco year. That was the year of the backup quarterback. That would have been 2024. This would be 26, 25, 24. Yeah, I think they beat the Browns and then lost to the Chiefs. No, they beat the Browns 45-14, then lost to the Ravens. And then last year they lost to the Chiefs. They had a million penalties. It was either a million penalties or a million sacks in that game. So they did win a playoff game last year. They beat the Chargers in the wild card. If we're looking at the team stats, sacks allowed, yeah. The Texans allowed 8 sacks. CJ Stroud got taken down in the backfield 8 times, which is too many if you're going to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Chiefs went on to lose in the Super Bowl, as we know, that year. Did the Giants score a touchdown? They're lining up for an extra point. Extra point is good. So the Giants take a 7-0 lead. Devin Singletary, it looks like, found the end zone. All right, Giants are putting some fight out there. A Bobby Okereke pick turns into 7 going the other way. You don't hate that? Let's talk a little Jets. Go to the other side of New York. I think the Jets are in a really weird situation right now because they need so much, most importantly, a quarterback, yet they're only going to be picking 4th in this draft. Fernando Mendoza is going to be off the board. If I'm looking at the mock draft, they're projected to trade up to 3 and take Dante Moore out of Oregon. I don't know if I love that. I'm not too sure of what Moore has done this year. I'm not a huge college football guy. Like, I'll scout the prospects who are being talked about, but I haven't gotten around to that yet. But if the Jets need a quarterback because Justin Fields is a stopgap guy, you can't live with him forever. Who's even playing quarterback for them? Who played quarterback? Was it Tyrod Taylor maybe for the Jets? They lost 42-10. They got the wheels blown off of them. But if you're the Jets, you just need so much. I want to see how many picks they have in this year's draft, because you need a huge draft class this year. You need to hit on a lot of those picks also. So it seems like they have 2 first-round picks. All right, with 2 first-round picks, you can do something. You can take a quarterback and then maybe a safety, a defensive lineman, which that's not terrible. If you get 2 first-round players and you hit on both of them, that's solid. You can live with that for sure. But I just don't. There's no path to relevancy in my mind for the Jets right now. It seems like whatever they do this offseason, they're still going to be out of it next year, and they're still going to need so much more the following offseason. Whereas for the Giants, with a couple big moves, another receiver, and a pretty big overhaul on the defense, I think the offense is going to be good. I think with Neighbors and Scat and another receiver and a little bit of Wan'Dale Robinson, you might be able to work with that. You might be able to pull out a couple wins. And listen, the way it's going to work, they're not just going to jump to an NFC title game. It's going to be a progression. They're going from 2-13 right now. The next step is to get 6 or 7 wins. The next step after that is to get to 8 or 9 wins. And then all of a sudden, you're in the hunt. You're on the graphic. Then you're in the playoffs. And then you're competing. And then you're good. Then you keep reloading. And then you keep resetting. That's what has to happen for the Giants. Like, that's their path. There's more of a clear path with the Giants than the Jets, because the Jets just need help at every single position. I think the big question for them this offseason is, what do you do with Breece Hall? Because at this point, he's going to have to get paid soon, I think. You paid both Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson this past offseason. Obviously, those guys didn't do a ton. Garrett Wilson is okay, but Sauce Gardner's now in Indianapolis, which is honestly probably better for the Jets because he wasn't doing anything. I mean, the guy forgot how to tackle. He had such a good rookie year, but after that, it was just such a fall off. He regressed so quickly. And that's it. That's all she wrote. I mean, there's not a ton the Jets can do right now. If I'm looking, I'm trying to pull up. I don't know why I can't find this score. Okay, 42-10. They lost today. Tensions flared a little bit at the end of the first half. Drake May was tremendous, as Drake May is. I think he threw 5 touchdown passes to at least 4 different receivers. So the Patriots have the weapons. But from a Jets standpoint, Brady Cook played quarterback in this one. 152 passing yards. Breece Hall, 111 on the ground and a tutty. John Mechie III led the team in receiving yards with 41. Like, it's not terrible, but if your defense is giving up 42 points, you're not going to win a lot of games. That's just how it is. And that's just the facts. Giants have had the Raiders backed up for a 3rd down now. Let's see. Are the Giants going to win this game? I think they can. I think they're going to win. It's a 3rd and 5, and I'm going to keep going back to it. But if they win, it's good. If they lose, it's good. That's all. There's no big deal for going either way, because you can have the number 1 overall pick, your choice of everyone in the draft, or you start building a culture. And I think building a culture is more important, but I'm also not going to be mad at having your choice of any single player. You can't be mad at it. And at this point, the season is long gone. They're 2-13. What is getting a win going to do besides starting to build a little sense of a culture? The thing I'll point to for the culture argument is that everyone seemed like they liked each other when they were winning, and they beat the Eagles and they beat the Chargers. Everyone seemed happy with each other as the Raiders have a 1st down. So their drive will continue. But there is an argument to be made that winning the game is good, but I think tanking isn't. You hate to condone tanking as a fan, but at some point it's something that has to happen. I just don't know how much it'll help the Giants rather, versus it'll help the Raiders a significant amount more. Here's Genty going up the middle for a first down and more. An 8, 9, 10-yard rush for the rookie running back out of Boise State. Illegal hands to the face against the Giants, so it'll give the Raiders an extra 15-yard boost. Yeah, definitely a face mask. Actually, yeah, it's a face mask. For a second, I thought he had the shoulder pad of the Raider offensive lineman, but it was definitely underneath the face mask like that. So now the Raiders are on the 26-yard line. Smith under center, hands the ball off. Genty's dropped in the backfield. Drew Phillips coming down from the secondary to get the stop for the Giants, and it'll force a 2nd and 11. Unblocked. Phillips. No, Phillips was blocked a little bit. Here come the Raiders 5 wide. Smith in the shotgun. Passes. It's complete underneath. And the Giants wrap up and tackle immediately. 2nd and 11. Tyler Lockett. I didn't realize he was on the Raiders. He's an old Pete Carroll guy from the days back in Seattle. I wonder if I bet him and Geno Smith did cross over in Seattle for at least a year. So it'll be a 3rd and 6. Raiders on the fringe of the red zone, I think. Yeah, on the 22. Smith looks to pass. Here comes the pressure. Steps up in the pocket. And now he's taken down. The Giants get a sack on 3rd and 6. Field goal time for the Raiders as the Giants defense gets off the field. And in the Bills game, a bomb from Josh Allen is complete. Way downfield. It's like a 35-yard pickup or so for Buffalo. Nah, more. More than 35. That's like 40 yards. So for the Raiders, Daniel Carlson will come on to attempt the 42-yard field goal. Shouldn't be too big of an issue. It is good. And the score shifts to 7-3. Giants still lead the Raiders. 9:40 to go in the second quarter. Let's take a look at the box score thus far from the Giant game. Dart coming off one of his worst performances in the NFL last week. He had a total of 0.013 fantasy points. Today, he's 7 for 9, 44 yards. You'll take it. 87 quarterback rating. No touchdowns, no interceptions yet. Devin Singletary's got the brunt of the yards. 3 carries for 34 and a touchdown. Tyrone Tracy, 3 for 14. And then in the receiving game, it's been Wan'Dale Robinson, 5 receptions, 35 yards, and Devin Singletary, 2 receptions for 9 yards. Daniel Bellinger is the only other receiver to be targeted, and he dropped his one target. For the Raiders, it's been Geno Smith, 10 for 13. Still solid efficiency, 85 yards, an interception. That interception was in the red zone to Bobby Okereke. Ashton Genty, 7 for 15 on the ground. So solid start from the Giants. I mean, Brian Burns and Abdul Carter a half sack each. Bobby Okereke a tackle for loss. He's had a nice game. Drew Phillips a tackle for loss. So you like what the Giants have been doing right now. They look solid. This is the Giant team that can compete. The problem is you don't see them too often, and right now they're playing against the Raiders, which is the least stiff competition you could possibly think of. So that's where the Giants are at. Man, that Bobby Okereke interception was a 47-yard return. Pretty solid. It was in the red zone. Giants got the ball in plus territory on that play. All right, let's take a look around the NFL today. Some big games going on, some decisive games going on, and a couple of decisive games are set up for next week now. If I'm taking a look at the scores, as the Giant offense will head back out on the field. Bears-Niners tonight is going to be a good game. I'm excited to watch that one for the Sunday night matchup. Cardinals-Bengals 37-14. Joe Burrow has looked really good this year. When he starts games, I think the Bengals are either 5-2 or 6-2. I forget what the exact stat was. They were talking about it on the broadcast today, 24 for 31 for 305 yards and 2 touchdowns. You'll take that every day of the week from if you're Zach Taylor and the Bengals. Both those teams aren't in the playoff picture, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that game. Steelers-Browns, I will spend some time on, though. The Browns come out on top 13-6. Aaron Rodgers, Mike Tomlin, and the Steelers stumble with a chance to clinch the AFC North, and it'll set up a division title game next week from M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. So the Ravens, after their just terrible starts to the season, somehow, some way, have a chance to win their division, which will be huge. That's going to be, everyone's eyes are going to be on that game because that determines so much of the AFC playoff picture. Because again, if we're going back to the teams that have clinched so far, and of course, this is going to take a while to load. No one from the AFC North has clinched yet, but the Steelers are in the hunt and the Ravens are on the bubble. So I think one of those two teams gets in. And it's going to be whoever wins that AFC North championship game. But the other division title game is going to be Bucks No. Let me see. Adam Schefter put it out there. Bucks Panthers, I think. I got to find it now. Yeah, Bucks Tampa in Tampa for the NFC South. That's a division that nobody wants to win. It always is. Pretty mediocre. I thought the Bucks were going to win it with ease this year. I didn't think the Panthers were ready. I know Bryce Young showed promise in his second stint as starting quarterback last year when they brought him back as the starter late in the year. But I just didn't think that they would have enough. It didn't feel like they were ready. Like, they're still the Panthers. They're not playoff contenders yet. Look at this. Jackson Dart slipped again. This time he's able to escape the pocket and pick up a first down with his legs. Well, that's twice now that Dart has lost his footing on this Allegiant Stadium grass. And in the other game, the Eagles are threatening to get on the board first with 1:40 to go. In the first quarter, Nick Sirianni has his team in the red zone. Inside the 5-yard line at that. For the Giants, though, Dart looking downfield, fires. He's got a first down. That's Darius Slayton. I'm surprised he held on to that one. There was no one in the area, but it's always a a concern when Darius Slayton's the intended target. See, bunch formation to the right here. Slayton gets out in space. No one around him. Able to come up with it. Fell immediately and was down by contact. But now the Giants are in the red area, threatening to put up a second touchdown today. Dart fakes the handoff. Finds a man. Here's Robinson. Robinson to the outside. Has a good, solid pickup on 1st and 10. Giants still in search of their first road win of the year. They've only got 2 victories overall. As the Eagles strike first, they got on the board a Dallas Goedert touchdown reception. This game in Buffalo is going to come down to the wire. It's a statement game for whoever wins. For the Giants, though, Dart design quarterback run to the end zone. Took the contact, but kept on pushing. And the Giants have 2 touchdowns in the first half. Here we go, man. No tank for the Giants. No tank, New York. Quarterback draw. Dart first contacted at the 2-yard line and was pushing. Momentum carried him into the end zone. So the Raiders go down the field, kick a field goal. The Giants answer right back. 8th rushing touchdown of the season for Dart. Extra point is good. Giants still running that lefty kicker out there. First time there's been a lefty kicker in the NFL since 2018. I find that hard to believe. I feel like there's always one, but I guess not. It feels like something that there's just one. Like, you don't hear about it because there's always one in the league. But I guess there wasn't. But let's get back to some of the scores from around the league today. 23-17 Jacksonville over Indianapolis. The Colts are knocked out of playoff contention. Trevor Lawrence runs for 2 touchdowns as the Jags clinch an AFC South title. Lawrence on the day, 23 for 37, 263 through the air, and an interception. How'd Phillip Rivers play? 17 for 30, 147, a touchdown, an interception. So nothing too special, but also not a bad performance from the old man. On the ground, Travis Etienne, 17 for 76. Trevor Lawrence, 8 for 26 and 2 touchdowns, which you'll take. No passing touchdowns in the game for Jacksonville. Huge win for the Jaguars to wrap up that AFC South title. I think they already clinched the playoffs, but it knocks Indianapolis out of the hunt. They were considered one of the wild card contenders at this point in the year. Let's see. Let's keep going here. I'm trying to find the other big games. Dolphins knocked off the Bucks 20-17. That's the game that'll set up the decisive game for the NFC South next week. Patriots destroyed the Jets 42-10 is the final, and the Seahawks keep rolling 27-10 over the Panthers. Let's look at some of the games from the past couple of days. Cowboys 30-23 over the Commanders. They are knocked out of the playoffs already, so neither team is going to do anything anyway. Vikings 23-10 over the Lions, same situation. Both teams are already eliminated from playoff contention. Broncos 20-13 over the Chiefs. They increased their number 1 overall seed chances. And then yesterday, Texans 20-16. I talked about that game a little bit. But Cameron Dicker just sold the game for the Chargers. A missed field goal in the first half, a missed extra point late in the second half, and they lose by 4. That's the difference right there. And then Ravens 41-24. They beat the Packers. Devin Henry. Why was I going to say Devin Henry? Derrick Henry. 216 yards and 4 touchdowns runs. If you have him in your fantasy leagues, you are set. That's huge. As we're in championship weekend for fantasy football. I don't enjoy fantasy football that much. So I wasn't in any championships for my 2 leagues. Not going to expand on how my seasons went. But yeah, 41-24. Lamar Jackson didn't play. Who was their quarterback? Is it still Tyler Huntley down there? This game was only on Peacock, which I think is flat out ridiculous. You shouldn't be able to have a game only on Peacock on a Saturday. A huge game like this for the NFL playoffs. So yeah, it is Tyler Huntley. So I wasn't really able to watch. I watched some of the highlights this morning. The Tyler Huntley 107 passing yards and a touchdown. It was the Derrick Henry show though. 216 on the ground for him, 4 touchdowns, 36 carries. Feed the big man. That's what the Ravens did last night, and they were successful in doing that. I mean, that's all you needed to do. You just need to hand the ball to Derrick Henry and get out of the way. That was it. So yeah, those are all the scores. And then tonight's game, I think I mentioned it a little bit already, but Bears-Niners is going to be really good. The 49ers have not punted once in the month of December, and we are on December 28th. So with 3 days left in the month, the Niners are going to play their final game. Oh, Geno Smith was almost intercepted again. Instead, it's a 15-yard completion. A flag is down, though. Offensive holding against the Raiders. So to bring that one back, Antonio Mafi is the culprit there. Oh, for sure. Yeah, he just held on to the Giant defensive lineman. Couldn't tell who it was. So it'll be a 3rd and 23. Giants drop back. Quick hitter to the outside is complete. Not enough for a first down, though. So the Giants will get it back with 4 minutes to go before the teams hit the locker room. Another chance. Let's circle back to the chess match that was going on between coaches today in this Giant game. So for the Raiders, Max Crosby and Brock Bowers were both held out of the game, which is huge for the Raiders. Those are their 2 clear best players, which tells me that the tank is on, and you can't be mad at it because they need that quarterback. For the Giants, Andrew Thomas isn't in. I don't think John Michael Schmitz, the starting setter, is playing either. We have a little scuffle going on along the sidelines here. There was a Raider deep into the Giant sideline, and a couple referees had to separate it. Oh yeah, and they were going at it, and yeah, that was a swing from a Giant. So that could be an injection. All right, I'm back, and we gotta chat. First one in a while. Ben, what do you think the move to be if you get the number one overall pick, trade or keep? I think you trade back because whoever you're gonna take, you don't need the number one overall pick to take them. Right now, Tankathon has the Giants taking Arvell Reese out of Ohio State, but I don't think you need the number one overall pick to take him. Right now, the mock draft goes linebacker to the Giants, quarterback to the Raiders, quarterback to the Jets. If you trade back, I wonder if the Jets would be willing to trade up to the number one overall pick. I wonder if you could get a haul for that number one overall pick, and then you take Reese third, and it goes quarterback, linebacker. So I think you do. I think you look to trade it, but if you're not getting the amount of picks that you think it's worth, I think you hold on to it and just take your guy. But right now, it doesn't seem like the Giants are going to have that number one overall pick. It seems like they're going to have the second overall pick. So we'll see how it shakes out, but I think it's not that big of a deal. Well, whichever way it goes, I would like to trade back and get a bunch of picks for it. Here we go. Giants ball, 3:23 to play in the half. 1st and 10. And CBS is going to show another replay of this fight. Yeah, that ref was moving to get it. He climbed over a bench to get in the middle and break it up. First down play for the Giants went for 5 yards. They've got it on their own 20-yard line. Giants spread 5 wide, Dart in the shotgun. Dart takes a snap. He'll look to pass. Fires over the middle. It's complete. Wan'Dale Robinson's got a first down. That ball had some mustard on it from Dart. He really wound up and launched it. Wan'Dale Robinson's really sure-handed. He's the guy I trust most for the Giants. He's got 41 yards today. Dart gets some good protection. Lost one over the middle. It's Robinson again with plenty of space. Into Raider territory. Breaks a tackle. Still on his feet. And gets out of bounds at the 35. Wan'Dale Robinson is fired up. The leading Giant receiver has got it going right now. Him and Dart. If they can really develop that connection, that could be something special in the future. There was just no one by him at all. Dart found him at the 50. He broke a tackle at the 45, I think, and then he kept moving. Solid. As we hit the 2-minute warning, Giants lead 14-3. They've got plenty of time to put another score on the board before we hit the locker rooms. You win or you lose. What do you want? It could go either way. I'm not mad at it. The Giants are going to be fine with whatever happens. Their offseason is not going to be changed. That's the thing. Like, if it was going to change what they do this offseason, I would care about if they win or not. But they're going to draft high. They might trade back. They're going to draft the same person, though. That's the thing. Like, they're going to draft a linebacker or they're going to draft another receiver. And right now, it doesn't seem like they're going to draft another receiver because it doesn't seem like there's another receiver out there for them to take so early in the draft. I want to look and see what the wide receiver market's going to look like this offseason in terms of free agency. All right, so you got George Pickens, Deebo Samuel, Terry McLaurin, I think. Let me see. You can't trust Google because they just had Garrett Wilson, who I know is locked up. Mike Evans, I don't want to bring in. Christian Kirk. All right, maybe. Deebo Samuel, okay. I'm not too interested in that. Diami Brown. Tutu Atwell. Adam Thielen's kind of old. Marquise Hollywood Brown. I feel like he hasn't done anything in a couple years. Jawan Jennings has had his moments. Rashid Shaheed. Rashid Shaheed is interesting because his flash with the Saints last year at the start of the year where their offense looked dynamic for the first 2 weeks of the year, that was really solid. But other than that, I haven't heard about him too much. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of guys out there. It doesn't seem like a very saturated market this offseason. So whatever happens, I mean, I think if you're looking at the needs for the Giants right now, wide receiver is number one. Or no. Linebacker is number one. Wide receiver is number two in my mind. Here the game's back from the 2-minute warning. Wow, more tensions flaring. Jameis Winston getting in a little bit of a spat. Jameis Winston's that kind of player now? Okay. He doesn't seem like the guy that would be doing that. Him and Jamal Adams talking it up. Referees having to get in the middle again, pushing Adams away. 1st and 10 Giants in Raider territory. Dart in the shotgun. Hands the ball off. This is Tyrone Tracy. Swallowed up after a pickup of 3. Solid run from the sophomore running back. 2nd and 7. Giants going to hustle to the line a little bit. Plenty of time with 3 timeouts. Handoff again. Pressure in the backfield. Tracy finds his way back to the line of scrimmage and is going to pick up 2. Making a little bit of something out of absolutely nothing. There were 2 Raiders in the backfield. Tracy slipped between them. And now we've got an injured Raider out on the field. It'll be a 3rd and 5 with 1:23 to play. So CBS is going to go to break. Giants are threatening again. If the Giants go up 17-3 or even 21-3 at the half, I think that's probably the game. I mean, this version of I know the Giants defense sucks, and I know they've given up huge leads in the 4th quarter already this year, but I just can't see that happening to the Raiders. CBS doesn't go to a break, by the way. They stay on air for the injury timeout. Who is that? Number 69. Well, let me see if I can find it real quick. Adam Butler. He's got a tackle on the game. Let's see what Kafka dials up here. Does he keep the ball on the ground or does he go through the air? I think this is a pass situation. You got Dart. Wan'Dale Robinson has been so sure-handed today that you should be able to find him in some sort of space. Dart motions Singletary. Now calls him back. Daniel Bellinger motions to the backfield. Now Dart tells him to go back to the line of scrimmage. Takes the snap. He'll drop back. Go going to pass. Dart underneath. It's complete. This is Singletary. He's going to be short of a 1st down. Did the official just call that a 1st down? Oh my goodness, they did. That is an incredibly generous spot from the official. That ball surely looked short. But it's going to be a 1st and 10 New York. Just under a minute to play now. And now we should get a review because that wasn't a 1st down at all. Yeah, it'll go under review. Shouldn't be upheld. It should be overturned. To the Eagle game now. 10 minutes to go in the second. Still just the touchdown from the Birds. They've got it now 3rd and 4. On their own side of the field. The Eagles are a team that's interesting to me this year because they clearly don't have what they've had previously, but the NFC East was just so weak this year that they were able to win with ease. I mean, let's see. What's their record? They entered the week. Let me see. I think that's a week behind. They're 10 and 5. And that's 2 free wins. Actually, no, they lost to the Giants. That's 1 free win against the Giants. I think probably 2 wins against the Commanders. A win against the Cowboys. They lost once to the Cowboys. That was that Black Friday? No, that was the Bears game. The Bears game was Black Friday. They lost to the Chargers, Bears, Cowboys, Giants, and Broncos. So 3 of the 5 losses are high-quality losses. The Broncos are a good loss. The Bears are a good loss. The Chargers are a playoff team. The Giants and the Cowboys in there makes no sense, though. So they're a good team. They're always going to be a good team when you have Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, who has had a down year. But yeah, they're always going to be there. All right, let's see. Let me see. Am I going to... All right, there it is. Assuming Raiders draft Mendoza at 1, do you want someone on offense or a guy like Arvell Reese? Personally, I don't really know what Arvell Reese is going to give you. I haven't watched a ton of Ohio State football this year. I don't watch a ton of college football. I'm just going off of what Tankathon is saying right now. I would like an offensive guy. However, there's no one there for the Giants to draft. If you're taking another look at that Tankathon mock draft, I think the first receiver doesn't go until like 6th or 7th overall. Yeah, the first receiver is Jordan Tyson at 7th out of Ohio State to the Commanders. So if you can trade back all the way to 7, do it and take a receiver. But I just don't think a team is going to be willing to try, especially a team like the Commanders with a quarterback in that they want to continue playing with in Jaden Daniels is going to be willing to trade up that high. So with the 2nd overall pick, I think Arvell Reese is probably the move. I'm going to trust what Tankathon is saying here. Well, let's see. The Giants game is back. The call was overturned as it should have been. And I think Kafka's going to keep the offense out there. Let's see if they just try to run a little hard count or they're actually going to snap this ball. The hard count worked. The Giants drew the Raiders off sides, I think. Move the chains. The Giants have a first down. But getting back to this question, I think you probably go defense just because there's not an offensive player I would want to draft that high. So you probably just stick with the defense. You need more defense anyway. Yes, pairing another top receiver with Neighbors would be nice. However, you need a top receiver. You can't just throw someone out there and expect them to be as good. Here come the Giants from the 20. Dart floats one up there, incomplete. So it'll be 2nd and 10, 43 seconds to go in the half. Giants are surely in field goal range. The ball's on the shy side of the 20. 5 wide for New York. Dart over the middle. It's complete. This is Wan'Dale Robinson. Makes one man miss. Now cuts back. Has a first down and more. Wan'Dale Robinson has the Giants inside the 10. 30 seconds to go. Is Kafka going to burn a timeout? Still plenty of time. But this is a spot where you might want to... Well, you got the Raiders on their heels a little bit. Nice sidearm pass. Who do you think coaches the Giants next year? All right, this is an interesting question. And there's a couple ways I can see it going. So this is going to take some explaining, and it might sound crazy. Matthew Stafford, in my mind, is probably done after this year. I mean, he's put together an MVP campaign. If the Rams go to a Super Bowl, even if they lose, I think he could call it a quits and be done. Meaning, the Rams need a new quarterback. And the way you draft quarterbacks in the NFL, I know it doesn't always work, is you select it within the top 5. Could the Giants trade their number 1 or number 2 overall pick to the Rams for Sean McVay? If you look at the contract situation, McVay has 1 year left after this one. All right, are we back? Let's see. Are we back live? Bear with us as we deal with some technical difficulties. Yeah, I think we are. Wow. All right, so what was I saying? Who do you think coaches the Giants next season? All right, so here's a plan that might sound crazy, but could also come true. Sean McVay. Oh, these lights turned off. Turn these on real quick. So Sean McVay has 1 year left on his contract after this year. Coaches don't like to be sitting where they'll become free agents. They like to sign their extension. It'll be after this season for Sean McVay. Matt Stafford is in a spot where if he wins an MVP award this year and he brings the Rams to the Super Bowl and maybe even the NFC Championship, he could call it a quits and retire. At that point, the Rams would have to draft and develop a new quarterback. Does Sean McVay want to do that? Or does he want to head to New York, where you have a guy in Jackson Dart? You don't have to run the risk of drafting a new quarterback. You have someone that's already proven himself as a competitor and as a guy that can compete in the NFL. And also the Rams need a new quarterback, so they're going to want a top 5, top 10 pick for that. So can the Giants trade their first or second overall pick to the Rams in exchange of Sean McVay? That's something to think about. If you're a Giant fan, obviously Sean McVay is an awesome head coach. His coaching tree runs so deep in the league. Other than that, I don't really have a name for you right now. If Mike I don't know. I don't even want to entertain that. Mike Tomlin, because I doubt he gets fired from Pittsburgh. And those fans calling for him to be fired are absolutely insane. Listen here. The Steelers are above 500 every year, and they're going to the playoffs nearly every season. And you want to part ways with your head coach? You've had 3 head coaches in the past 50 years. That is something to be proud of. The Giants have had 5 head coaches in the last 10 years. You need stability, and you have that in Mike Tomlin. There's no reason, absolutely no reason to move off of him. You're above 500. Have they clinched that yet this year? I assume they already have. Let me see. Let me look here. Where'd it go? There's the tab. There's no reason to fire Tomlin, but if he's available, yeah, they did clinch their above 500 season, so their streak lives on. Bring McVay in. It could happen. There's a chance. There was a point where I thought Kyle Shanahan could be let go, but with the Niners' recent success, I doubt that happens. Out of the top coordinators in the league, who's the Rams' defensive coordinator? I forgot what his name is. He's pretty good. If you could poach him, maybe. But I'm not too sure yet. I think I need to see a little bit of who's going to get fired. What is there a college coach that could get brought in? There was a time where I thought Lane Kiffin could be a good fit for the Giants. Runs a pro-style offense, developed Jackson Dart at Ole Miss, but obviously that's off the table with him heading to LSU. So I think it's something that Joe Schoen has to really work on. I think he might have to get creative with it. The thing is, I don't really want a college coach because I want a proven NFL guy. There was one name I heard earlier this week. I'm not going to be able to remember who it was. And I was like, that's who you want. You have a guy in Dart that you can really develop and make into a winning team. And you're going to bring in him. Like John Harbaugh wait, I'm going to have to think about this. Is Harbaugh in Baltimore or in LA right now? He's in Baltimore. Is he going to get let go? The Ravens are about to go to the playoffs again if they can beat the Steelers next week. So are you trading for him? Are you trading for Harbaugh? But because they already have a quarterback, they're not going to want a top 10 draft pick. You probably don't have the other draft capital to trade for him. I don't know who they would want unless you're moving off of like Dexter Lawrence. Like that's the thing with trading for coaches. Like you don't know what the market is because it happens so rarely. And that's why I think you can make something happen for a guy like McVay because the market's not set and you're offering the first or second overall pick in the NFL draft to potentially a quarterback needy team. Baltimore is going to let him go or fire him. Like again, this is where I'm mad if the Steelers fire Tomlin. They're a successful team. If they go to the playoffs again, I just can't see it happening. Like there's no reason to fire him if you're going to the playoffs every year. You have a system that works with Lamar. You have a system that works with Derrick Henry. I know Henry had his struggles with holding onto the ball earlier in this year, but he just rushed for 200 plus yards and 4 touchdowns last night. I get it could be a one-off, but Derrick Henry is top 10 in rushing all time in the NFL. Harbaugh has definitely played a role in that over the past 2 seasons. I think it all depends on what Baltimore does next week. If they beat the Steelers and head to the playoffs, I doubt Harbaugh gets fired. But if they lose and the Steelers are the team going to the playoffs, then maybe he does. And if that's the case, I would absolutely be interested in bringing in John Harbaugh because that is another proven head coach who has gone to a Super Bowl. Did he win the Harbaugh Bowl? The blackout Super Bowl? I can't remember. Let me see. Ravens versus 49ers Super Bowl. The Ravens won. He's a Super Bowl winning head coach. I would bring him in. He developed Joe Flacco. He developed Lamar Jackson. That's a guy that I would I think the Giants will be foaming at the mouth to bring in John Harbaugh. Taking a look at the game in Buffalo, 10-0 Eagles, 2:50 to go until the half. Giants game remains at halftime. The Eagles have it deep in their own territory on their own 30-yard line. But if they can put up another score, I believe they get the ball to start the second half. So they can make this it's a 2-possession game right now. They can kind of blow this game open with a score here and then a score immediately coming out of the locker rooms. Here's Saquon Barkley, a good rush on 1st and 10. Little setup, a 2nd and short. Let's see. Harbaugh as head coach with Mike McDaniel as the OC. Yeah, I don't mind that whatsoever. I don't want Mike McDaniel as the head coach, but an offensive coordinator. We saw what he did in Miami a couple years ago when he had a couple speed demons and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the outside. Also had Devon A-Chain. Yeah, it was Raheem Mostert, I think. A-Chain and Mostert in the backfield. I mean, you have Neighbors, Wandale, maybe another good young receiver on the outside along with Scott and Tracy in the backfield. I'm not saying that offense, it's not as fast. It might not put up as many points as that other Miami offense did, but it could be really solid. Let's see. I think either McCarthy or a current coordinator like Joe Brady could happen. You're saying to be the Giants head coach? I don't want Mike McCarthy. I saw what he did in Dallas. I don't want him in New York. You need a good head coach. You need an offensive-minded head coach too. I think that's the other thing. And that's my problem with Mike Tomlin is that he's a defensive guy with a young quarterback like Jackson Dart who needs the help, who needs the attention, who needs the leadership of a solid head coach. You need an offensive mastermind. And that's where I like Harbaugh because he's an offensive guy and Mike McDaniel is a really solid offensive play designer, schemer, who could really work for the Giants. I don't mind that idea whatsoever of bringing in Harbaugh. I actually really like it. The problem is Miami going to let go of McDaniels, which I think is likely to happen? And is Harbaugh going to get let go by Baltimore, which I think is less likely to happen if they go to the playoffs? I mean, outside of those two guys, I feel like the market I guess there's some guys. I don't know. I don't like McCarthy. I just don't. I saw what he did in Dallas, and that was enough for me. He had Dak Prescott, who was playing as an MVP caliber quarterback at the time. He had CeeDee Lamb. Uh, he had Brandon Cooks for a year. He had guys on the defensive side. He had Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs. Like he had the tools. He wasn't able to put it together. They got embarrassed. That game against the Packers, that playoff game where they got blown out in their own building. I will always go back to that game for why Mike McCarthy is not the answer to be the head coach, because the Packers were clearly not as good as the Cowboys were. Jordan Love, in his first season as the starting quarterback, should not have been able to waltz into Jerry World and pick apart the Cowboys defense like he did so easily that day. That is attributed to bad coaching. I don't see McCarthy in New York. Joe Brady. Where's Joe Brady at right now? Oh, he's the Bills. Is he the He's the O coordinator. All right. I mean, we want to go back to the Bills fountain. We took Daboll from the Bills. Now we're gonna take Brady from the Bills. They developed Josh Allen. So, and Jackson Dart's supposed to be that type of quarterback. He's a poor man's Josh Allen, if anything. But just with his running prowess, he's not afraid to take a hit, and his arm is also really solid. He's the Josh Allen archetype, if you will. As the Eagles up in Buffalo are threatening field goal range. Let's see. James Cook is heading into the blue tent. I didn't see what happened to him. But the Giant game is just about back from the halftime break. So the Giants kicked a field goal. That was when the stream cut out. The Giants kicked a field goal to make it a 17-3 game. They're up 2 touchdowns. Raiders get the ball to start the half. At this point, if you're the Giants, finish the job. You're up 2 touchdowns. This is what a winning team would win this game. A tanking team would clearly lose. That it would be clear in the way that the Giants lose if they're tanking or not. But if they're playing for real, they're going to close this out, and they're going to close it out emphatically. You're going against the 2-13 Raiders. I know I'm emphasizing 2-13, like the Giants are any better, and the Giants have wins on the road. But I think if you look around the field, the Giants are probably the more talented team. I think the injuries played a huge part of this season because the Dart Scat combination looked really solid. And now we got Javon Holland down out on the field. I wonder if this was non-contact or if he was playing special teams. But that was one of the Giants' bigger pickups this offseason. It was Javon Holland and Paulson Adebo. They were supposed to fortify that Giants secondary. And the Eagles are in the red area now. Devontae Smith takes a catch and run all the way inside the 20-yard line. 40 seconds to go. 2 timeouts for the Birds. 3 for Buffalo from the 15-yard line. Hurts in the shotgun. 1 man in the backfield. He'll look to pass. Check down pass is complete. That's Tank Bigsby. Slips upon catching the ball and is able to pick up about 2 or 3. And Sirianni's going to use his second time out of the half with 23 seconds to go. You got plenty of time if you're the Eagles to dial something up and get your team into the end zone. You got, 4 plays before field goal? Probably around 4 or 5. 4. If they could get the first down, that is. Because now it's a 2nd and 8. Bills' last time shutout in the first half at home was week 6 of 2023 versus your New York Giants. 23 would have been Daboll's first year. Let me see. I wonder what happened that game. Because that was the year that the Giants were good and they beat the Vikings on the road in the playoffs. Why can't I find it here? the 23 season. The Giants lost 14-9. All right, so that's along the lines of what happened across Daboll's tenure. Yeah, it was 6-0 Giants after 2 quarters. 6-0 Giants after 3 quarters, actually. And the Bills came alive for 2 touchdowns in the final quarter. So back to the Giants. Jevon Holland will enter the injury tent. And Geno Smith will get the first stab at it here in the second half. Play action, completion for the Raiders. That's a first down on the first play. Went to the tight end. Wow, the Raiders only had 5 rushing yards in the entire first half. That's been the story of the game. 104. The Giants doubled up, 208 to 104 in terms of total yards. A turnover for the Raiders didn't help. So there's room for them to get back in this game, but I can't say not as good because the Giants are also 2-13. But it feels like the Giants are more talented and should win this game. Flag on the field now. Handoff went to Genty. See, 18 seconds left in the first half of the Eagles game. 3rd and 8 for the Birds from the 14, 13. Herzl with the pass. It's a quick screen pass. That was Goddard. It's taken down after a 3-yard pickup. So the Eagles will presumably kick the field goal and extend their lead to 13 points. Geno Smith slipped as he took the snap, was able to hand it off. But it was swallowed up after a yard or two. For the Eagles, this will be a 28-yard attempt, a chip shot for Jake Elliott. He's already 1 for 1 on the day. Field goal is good. And the Eagles lead by nearly 2 touchdowns with 8 seconds to go in the second quarter. There's a flag in the Giant game. The camera's on Brian Burns, leading me to believe it's on him. I don't know, an eligible man downfield against the Raiders. Third and 13 for Vegas. Smith takes a snap, drops back. He'll look to pass. And it's taken down in the backfield. Dexter Lawrence hits home for a sack. There's a flag down, and the Giants aren't celebrating, though. Neither is Geno Smith, though. I don't know who this is against. Of course, offsides against the Giants. What else would you expect? They're the New York Giants. Abdul Carter falling asleep again. Except this time, he was a little bit too excited. Yeah, it looked like there was movement pre-snap. The refs gave the Raiders a free play. But it'll be a 3rd and 8 now. Giants still have a good chance to get off the field. 5 penalties for 25 yards on the game for New York. Smith calls the running back to the backfield. He'll look to pass. Here comes the pressure again. It's Brian Burns. Brian Burns' 2nd sack of the game. And the Giants get off the field. Spider-Man. That's good for the Giants. That's a good sign. Like, that's the stuff you want to see. You're not complacent going up 14 after a half. You still have your foot on the gas pedal, and you come out of the locker room with a bang. Exactly what you wanted to see. Encouraging sign for the Giants. Good punt for the Raiders. Gunnar Olszewski had to travel back about 10 yards and then was hit hard on his return. Yeah, he got blew up. So the Giants will have it on about their own 20-yard line. Jackson Dart, first stab at it here in the second half. The Bills game is at halftime as well. Let's see. What didn't I get to so far? I touched on the Packers game, but I want to talk more about the Packers in specific. They're in an interesting spot in my mind because I don't know when Jordan Love is coming back. I'm assuming it'll be in time for the playoffs because he was questionable this week. But that loss to the Bears, I don't know what to make of it because they beat the Bears 2 weeks earlier. But even that win, it wasn't so convincing to me. I mean, Caleb Williams just made a mistake on an easy play that he makes 9 times out of 10. The Packers, I think, are a good team. I don't know if they have enough to go all the way, though. I mean, I'm looking at their schedule right now. Let's see. They tied against the Cowboys earlier in the year. They beat the Steelers by 10. They lost to the Panthers. They lost to the Eagles. They lost to the Broncos on the road. The Broncos are real. The Broncos have some really good wins. They thrive in the chaos. They play better when the moment grows larger. So that's what I think about the Broncos. But the Packers, I think they'll probably win a wild card game and then they'll get out in the divisional round. I just don't think they're ready. They don't have the talent right now. Wow, Brian Burns tied for 4th all time for Giants single season sacks, 16 and a half. Really nice season for him. Giants immediately get a first down. Darius Slayton. Caught the ball a couple yards past the sticks. Giants playing with some tempo now. The ball was deflected at the line of scrimmage. Dart's pass. It was knocked up. It was one of those plays. If you've ever seen the one, I think it was Jameis Winston threw it. He threw it. It was in Kansas. I don't know if it was Jameis Winston actually. Oh, I forget who it is. But the quarterback throws it. He's running to his left. He's running towards the sideline. He throws it. It deflects off something. It bounces back to him. He catches it and takes it to the end zone for a touchdown. It was almost like that kind of bounce. Has a solid pickup on second down. Wan'Dale Robinson is up near the sticks for the Giants. Third and 1. Just shy of the line to gain for Wan'Dale. who is still racking up those receiving yards today. He's got a bunch to his name. On third down, Dart's going to keep it himself. He's out in open space. Wow, Dart ran out of bounds. Jackson Dart had the yardage he needed and went out of bounds. He still took some contact, of course, because it wouldn't be a Jackson Dart run without that. But he actually got to the sideline. Interesting. Good sign there from Dart. Here's Tyrone Tracy. Now he's got a first down and more into the red zone. And the Giants are set up nicely now. A first-yard pitch to Tyrone Tracy turns into a 15-yard gain and a Giant first down. Closer to 20 yards on the pickup, actually. Now on first down, Dart pitches it forwards as he was being sacked. Incomplete. Oh, that looked like a little bit of a face mask on Tracy when he was being taken down after that rush. Nothing was called, though. 2nd and 10 for New York on the Raiders' 20-yard line. A matchup for the number 1 overall pick. The loser has the right to pick first overall. See, that's the thing. You just got to make it a positive. You make it in a positive connotation. You got to say it like it's a positive. Even though it's a loss. Another loss, that is. Dart all alone in the backfield. 5 wide look. 2nd and 14. Dart drops back. He'll look to pass. Steps up. Evades pressure. He's going to run this one himself. Dart to the 6. Has a first down and is out of bounds. 2 rushes in a row where Jackson Dart goes out of bounds to evade contact. That's more important than the first down. Giants now with a 1st and goal. That is actually a very good sign, and I know it happened just twice. But that is huge for the Giants. Here we go. The fist bump dad chiming in. Dart is going out of bounds like a real NFL QB. And honestly, if Dart takes one thing out of this year, and it is going out of bounds or sliding, that is better than any lesson he could ever learn. Because prolonging his career is going to determine the fate of if the Giants are competitive for so long or have a chance of being competitive with a good team surrounding him. Because right now, Dart means just everything to this team. Everything. Giants already 50 rushing yards here in this second half. Second and goal from the 6.5-yard line. 2 men accompany Dart in the backfield. Handoff is to Singletary. Jets up the middle for a pair, but it'll bring up 3rd down. Dart's already got a rushing touchdown to his name today. Let's see where Mike Kafka goes here. 3rd and goal. Dart in the backfield, as is Devin Singletary. Dart will look to pass. Quickly has to get rid of it. Lofted up too far for Wan'Dale Robinson. So to bring out the field goal unit again. If the Giants can make this 20-3 with 7:20 to go in the 3rd quarter, it might do it. I mean, at this point, if I'm the Raiders, I'm calling the dogs off. I don't want to win. I'm already losing. It's going to take an incredible amount of effort to win. We need a new quarterback anyway. What is the purpose of winning this game? And that's where I'm at with the Raiders. For the Giants, the difference is They have their quarterback. They have their guy of the future. The Raiders don't. They need to change their culture. They need the number 1 overall pick a lot more than the Giants as Ben Sauls knocks another field goal through. His second of the game. Great name, by the way. So the Giants lead at 20-3. It's winning time. It's time to win the game. Just slam the door. There's no reason to lose now. You came this far. Finish the job. Players and coaches don't care about tanking. They want their next job contract, etc. Yeah, that's the truth. And that's why for the Giants, like, there's too many guys on this team that are supposed to be real NFL players that are supposed to be getting next contracts where the Raiders don't have as many of those guys. Like Geno Smith is one of them. He's got another year on his contract. He's going to be in Vegas for another season. Fernando Mendoza is going to take his spot. If he doesn't show, it's done at this point. But like he came into this year with a chance to take the Raiders from a bottom feeder to a team that's kind of competitive, doesn't need a new quarterback. Him and Pete Carroll already have some chemistry. Brock Bowers is an awesome young tight end. Maybe they can make a little bit of something happen. Obviously, they couldn't. But at this time, Fernando Mendoza is taking Geno Smith's job. There's no doubt about it in my mind. But for the Giants, like, yeah, Jackson Dart, if the Giants end up taking Fernando Mendoza, which I just can't see happening, and I hate those remarks that I heard earlier this week about Jackson Dart not being the guy. Because when he dominated on Thursday Night Football and he little broed the Philadelphia Eagles, people were saying that Jackson Dart is going to be the future of the New York Giants, which I still believe in. He's got no one, absolutely no one to help him. His top wide receiver, down for the year. His top running back, down for the year. I mean, there's no one. Darius Slayton is his second target. Darius Slayton. Like, come on. Geno's a journeyman at this point. He'll be a stopgap in Miami or Arizona, something like that next year. Yeah, he probably will end up being that, but he's got exactly. He's got to prove something to get that next job, to be that next quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, because Tua is done at this point. He doesn't have it. Kyler Murray, same kind of situation. Maybe a backup in Tennessee. Yeah, play role model to Cam Ward, who showed a little bit of promise, but again, just doesn't have the help. He doesn't have anyone on that offense that can do it. There's no one there. So it's not necessarily like, it's just all of these guys. They need their next job. Which is why the argument against tanking, from a player's perspective at least. But let's see here. Geno Smith, little swing passes complete. A one-handed catch in the open field from the Raiders receiver. The Giants able to quickly swarm to the ball. Again, pressure on Smith. He got hit. After making the throw, Abdul Carter was in the backfield. Dart needs help. He needs better skill position guys. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. You have Neighbors, who is one of the best young receivers in the NFL. But outside of that, what do you have? I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson is he could be a third, fourth option. Tyrone Tracy has shown some flashes, but he's not like a true number one receiver on a competing team. Cam Scatterboo, again, like he had his moments, but I don't know if he's a one-hit wonder. Like he's the kind of guy that's like a one-hit wonder. Like he won't be able to replicate his success again next year, coming off that huge injury. So the Giants need to make changes, and it goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Do you trade back far enough in the draft to draft that receiver, or do you stay in the top and take a defensive player, a linebacker, a safety, a defensive lineman? Because your defense does need more help. You have some pieces to the puzzle, like Brian Burns, like Dexter Lawrence, maybe Abdul Carter. Oh, Geno Smith just fell as he was handling the snap. But you have some guys, but there's just not enough, not anywhere near enough for the Giants to be competitive. Raiders driving down the field into Giant territory. Genty presses the gap, but is taken down pretty much at the line of scrimmage. If Burrow is that unhappy in Cincy, could the Bengals break it all down? Burrow to the Jets for a boatload of picks. The Giants would be pick the bones and maybe pick up Chaser. Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. So Burrow goes to the Jets, and in the process of Cincy breaking everything down, they also dump off Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. Yeah, if you could pair Jamar Chase with Joe Jackson Dart, that would be really nice. Two LSU guys on the outside in Jamar Chase and Malik Neighbors, and LSU wide receiver university. It's either them or Ohio State, but I don't know. I feel like the young guys in the league right now it's a lot of LSU. I know you got Jackson Smith and Jigba, Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, but right now I think it's LSU. It fluctuates a little bit. But getting back to what I was saying, I wouldn't mind that if you have the draft capital. The problem is Joe Burrow going to want out this offseason, or is this something that lasts till next offseason? Because if it is, then I don't think the Giants are going to have as high of a pick to trade with. Like the majority of that trade is the top pick, which is what I would think. The Giants are going to move off of the number 2 overall pick, and the Bengals are going to trade up to draft their next quarterback. If that doesn't happen this offseason, are the Giants going to be picking top 5 again to be able to trade that pick too? First some more picks. The Bengals could rebuild quick. The Jets and Giants could rebuild quickly. Winners all around. Yeah, I could see it happen. I think if Joe Burrow does get traded and actually wants to trade, I think he's going to New York and either New York team. I think I talked about this earlier, but I said I don't want to keep shuffling guys around. I don't want Mendoza to replace Dart. Joe Burrow is one of the few guys in the league I would replace Jackson Dart with in a heartbeat. I mean, Joe Burrow's done it. He's gone to a Super Bowl. He's 6-2 in the games that he's played this year. The only concern with him is the health issues. If you can trade for Joe Burrow, send a ton of picks to Cincy, your offense is going to be so much more dynamic. Dart with Malik and Chase. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. That would be dynamic. That would be sick. Burrow to the Jets. I think it's more likely for that to happen, and the Giants pick up some of the scraps. But it would be cool to see Burrow in a Giant uniform. New York football will be back 100%. If I think the thing would be, the Giant offense is so good, but it's a track meet every game because the defense has no one. And I'm not opposed to that. I would rather have a dominant offense and little to no defense than very mediocre and not good on both sides of the ball, which the Giants have right now. And if I'm Roger Goodell, I'm rooting for that to happen. It's going to make the league more money because the NFL, the New York market is absolutely ridiculous. And you have both of those teams in a position to succeed. I mean, the Jets are the Jets, so you don't know what's going to happen with them. But I think the Giants, there's a chance if they hire the right head coach, and if they do bring in that Harbaugh McDaniel regime, and they just go on full on listen of fist bump that, then they could be in a real situation there. They could be in a real position to succeed if everything goes to plan like that. Let's see. The Raiders still have the ball. They're deep in Giant territory at this point. Giant just got a too many men on the field penalty. Are you kidding me? That should never happen. Like, there's no reason to ever have too many men on the field. Yeah, Raiders inside the 5-yard line. First and goal. Smith hands it off. This is Ashton Jeanty. He's taken down in the backfield. The Giants with another tackle for loss. The Giant defense has been solid today. Anytime they needed a big play, they've gotten it. Here, Smith looks to pass, steps up, evades pressure, goes down after one. Imagine, yeah, it's the same idea. It just shouldn't happen. There's no reason for it. It's flat out a lack of discipline. And I get it. In an NFL game, it's crazy between plays and stuff like that. You have 12 guys on the field? Like, come on, dude. It's just a lack of discipline. That's all it is. Lack of coaching. Unnecessary. Unforced errors. Here we go. Third and goal. Smith immediately pressure. That ball is deflected. Abdul Carter hit Smith, and it looked like Brian Burns deflected the pass. Again, the Giant defense comes up big when they need it most. No, it was Drew Phillips, I think. It was either Drew Phillips or Tyler Nubin. Who deflected the pass. So Pete Carroll will leave the offense out there on fourth down. He's got nothing to lose. Let's see if the Raiders can chip into the Giants' lead. Fourth and goal from the 4-yard line. Smith will look to pass. Pressure comes. Fires to the back of the end zone. It's complete. Touchdown, Raiders. Tyler Lockett, sure-handed as ever, in the back of the end zone. And the Raiders can cut it to a 10-point game. All right. Raiders showing some fight. Maybe the tank isn't on. Good decision that time from Smith. Looked like he was going to scramble for a second, then he pulled up on a dime. Saw Lockett wide open. Extra point is good. 21-10, Giants still lead. Come on, Ben. More energy with the call. It's Giants Raiders. Amazing game. You know, it's certainly one of the games of all time. Maybe not one of the amazing games of all time. I mean, I thought that was pretty appropriate energy for a random touchdown in the third quarter of a game. No need to blow the roof off there. Especially from a Giant fan perspective. Let's view this as a Giants regional broadcast. But yeah, that's a touchdown. It's Giants Raiders. It's the tank ball, man. Come on, let's go. Here come the Eagles now. That game's out of the half. Eagles have a chance to put back-to-back scores on the board. They're shutting out the Bills right now. Saquon gets wrapped up in the backfield and is taken down. Eagles scored at the buzzer in the first half. Have a chance to put another score on the board and really extend their lead. If they go up 20-0 in Buffalo, it's never over. Should be first overall. Because it'll be 2-14 versus 3-13. Oh, if they win today. I read that one wrong. Let's look at the mock draft right here. The Jets are 3-13. And I think the Giants will be second. They would be tied with the Jets, Titans, and Cardinals, but they have a better strength of schedule. So right now, the Jets and the Raiders and Giants have the same record of 2-13, but the Raiders have a strength of schedule of 541, and the Giants have a strength of schedule of 530, and the Giants are number one overall. So I think that's the determining factor. And the Giants would have a better. The Jets are 552, the Titans are 576, and the Cardinals are 577. So the Giants are better than all three of them. So I think they would be 2 overall. Oh, here come the Giants now. A kickoff return to the house. Deonte Banks takes a kick return all the way to the end zone. A Raider touchdown on 4th and goal, and the Giants answer right back. Jameis Winston out on the field celebrating with the team. I swear, if the Giants get a 15-yard penalty because Winston's on the field without a helmet. Look at this. Banks untouched to the house. All right. How's energy for that one? We all good on that one? Oh, there's a flag on the field. That's not going to take the 6 points off the board. Let's see what it is, though. If this is on Jameis Winston, I'm going to freak out. Oh, what did I say? What did I say? What did I say? Unsportsmanlike conduct on number 19 for the Giants. Was it 19 or 51? Because Abdul Carter was also there. I was right. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the Giants. See, it's just undisciplined. Even in a good moment, they have to screw it up. It just backs up the extra point. And Ben Stolz thankfully knocks it through. But there's no reason for that to happen, man. I don't have the volume on, so I couldn't tell what number they called it on. Let me see if I go into the Gamecast on ESPN, maybe they have it. But I saw someone as soon as they were celebrating. I'm like, come on. I knew it was going to happen. Unsportsmanlike conduct. No, they didn't put it. Someone in the chat, who is that on Sportsmanlike on? All right, 27-10. Giants lead it. Raiders will get another chance. 18 seconds to go in the third quarter. Raiders take the touchback. Bills have a chance. They got off the field. They've got a first down there. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about this this Sunday night game coming up tonight. Bears Niners. This is a potential NFC Championship, NFC divisional round preview. Both of these teams have been clicking as of late. I am so excited to watch this matchup. I think I mentioned it briefly earlier, but the Niners have not punted in the month of December. This is their final game of the month. So if they don't punt, they've got a whole month without punting. That is honestly ridiculous. I don't know when the last time that happened or if it's ever happened is. But that's insane. That'll do it for the third quarter in the Giants game. I think the Raiders got a first down on their first play of the possession. But getting back to this Bears game. Last week, the Bears won a thriller in in Chicago. I'm trying to remember if it was in Chicago or Green Bay. That was such a good football game. Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, and the Bears showed me that they are for real. They showed me that they're a team to take serious in the playoffs. Because they had the poise, they had the integrity to bounce back and win that game in overtime. They took they came back. They got the onside kick that never happens in the NFL anymore. It never works. But the Bears, they have it. They have the flair for the dramatic. They make winning plays. That's the thing. When your team is making winning plays when it matters most, you're going to be so successful. You got to create your own luck. And this was an idea I remember hearing about when the Giants were winning with Brian Daboll in his first season. They had the game in Tennessee where they kicked the game-winning field goal. Daboll's first game as the head coach of the Giants. They made their own luck so many times. Yeah, the refs might have helped them out here or there. Yeah, they might have gotten a call. Whatever. They put themselves in situations to win. That's all. And that's what the Bears have been doing. 11-4 on the season for Chicago. Let's see. Let's take a look at who they've beaten. They lost to the Ravens. They lost to the Lions. Lost to the Packers. They beat Philly on Black Friday. They beat the Steelers the week before that. They beat the Bengals. I mean, honestly, their schedule has been pretty easy. The games I'm pointing out, they had a gauntlet a couple weeks ago. They had Steelers, Eagles, Packers back to back to back, and then the Browns, and then Packers, Niners. So that's a tough 6-week stretch right there. Steelers, Eagles, Packers, Browns, Packers, Niners. And right now, they're 4-1. They have a chance to go 5-1 in that 6-game stretch tonight against a really good 49er team. If they could do that, that's like they're there. They're in the NFC Championship. I think they're going to make the NFC Championship game already as the Giants get a sack on the first play of the fourth quarter. But yeah, I think the Bears are an NFC Championship game team right now. I think they're one of the two. But so I was talking earlier about the Bears' young pieces. Kyle Monungai was the running back I couldn't remember out of Rutgers. Probably the second best rookie running back in the sport right now. 2nd and 19 for the Raiders. Ashton Genty pushes the pile for a 5-yard pickup. And then let's shift our focus to San Francisco real quick, because they had a rocky start to the year. I thought this era of Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan and George Kittle might be coming to a close, but they have won 6 of their last 7 games. They are on a roll right now. As the Giants, did they get the stop on 3rd and 13? I was watching the play for a second. The second effort, I don't think they had it. It's going to, they called it 1st and 10. I think they got to go to a review for this one. I see the initial contact, he definitely wasn't there, but a second effort lunge, oh, he might have it. Yeah, they're going to snap the ball quickly, so it stands as a 1st down. Looking at the 49ers, their wins. They beat the Colts last week. All right, that's the Phillip Rivers Colts. It's not anything too special. They beat the Panthers, who have beaten a lot of good teams. They lost to the Rams. I believe that was Thursday Night Football. Mac Jones played in that game. It was Thursday Night Football. They beat the Giants. They lost to the Texans. They lost to the Bucs. They lost to the Jags. They beat the Rams early in the year. They beat the Seahawks in week 1. A couple good wins, a couple bad losses for San Francisco, but they're, I don't know. I think tonight is going to determine so much. I think if I'm looking at the playoff picture right now, I think this is the NFC Championship preview. No, it's Rams-Bears. Rams-Bears is the NFC Championship game. But if the Niners are able to knock off the Bears, maybe we'll see an NFC West NFC Championship. And it's Niners-Rams going at it. Here's another 3rd down for the Raiders. Smith looks to pass. Immediate pressure over the middle. It's intercepted. The Giants take it away again. A second Giant interception. Here come the Giants, man. This is the defense. This is what the Giants have had in their This shows me that they've had the talent all year long, because Geno Smith is still a serviceable NFL quarterback. I don't care what stage of his career he's in. He's always going to be an okay quarterback. All right, let's see. What's good? Who you got? What's good, Goat? Who you got making it out of the AFC this year? I think a lot of people aren't going to like this, but I think the Texans are there. I think the AFC Championship game is Broncos-Texans. The thing is, I don't trust Drake May in a huge moment yet. And I'll reason that by saying they haven't played anyone this year. They beat the Bills early in the season, and they're building in primetime. But then when the Bills came to Foxborough later in the year, Josh Allen made a huge comeback and won that game. I can't trust the Patriots yet. The Broncos have a good young quarterback in Bo Nix. They're well coached, and they seem to thrive in the chaos. They seem to thrive in the clutch when the game's on the line, when they're coming back from, how much were the Giants up that game, and the Broncos still came back in the 4th quarter? Bo Nix put up like 30 points in a quarter in that 4th quarter. Dude, I'm with you, Houston. It's going to be really hard to beat the defense. That's what I'm saying. The offense might not be there, but defense wins championships. And Houston's defense is undeniably the best in the sport. So I'm thinking my AFC Championship prediction right now is Houston against the Broncos. And I think the Texans come out on top in that one. Just because I don't think Bo Nix is there yet, and I don't think they have the rest of the team. They've got a solid defense with Pat Surtain and some of those guys, but I don't think that they've got a full enough team with enough experience yet. Like, this is D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud's 3rd rodeo. This is their 3rd, no pun intended with the Texans, by the way. This is the 3rd time they're heading to the playoffs in 3 seasons. Patrick Mahomes isn't standing in their way this year. I think the Texans Their defense is just too good. Made the Bills offense look terrible in that Thursday night football game a few weeks back. Never seen Josh Allen get sacked 7 times a game. Yeah, me neither. The Bills offense is always good enough to protect Allen. And that's the thing. There was a point, I think I might have said, I think the Bills are going to the AFC Championship earlier in this stream. We've been going for a while, man. It's 2.5 hours in already. But right now I've changed my mind. I think it's the Broncos that are going. And maybe watching this Bills game on the side over here has helped because they're getting shut out right now. But getting sacked 7 times for Josh Allen, that's not normal. This Texans defense is elite. And I just think we have to see how the bracket works out. Does the NFL do reseeding? I can't remember because I know the NBA doesn't, and I think the MLB does. I can't remember if the NFL does reseeding between rounds. All right, we're back. Just as I was getting going, I mentioned 2.5 hours already. My computer said 2.5 hours is enough and wanted to freeze up on me for a second time in this stream. So what was I saying? We're talking about the AFC and how the Texans defense is elite. Bills have an awesome O-line, and the Texans D-line made them look silly. Yeah, the Texans defense is ridiculous. The Bills are always really good offensively. Josh Allen always has the right protection, always has the time. And he doesn't have it against the Texans because the Texans are different. Their defense is awesome. And I know they don't have as much offense as a team like the Patriots or like the Broncos, or even I don't know. I'm just trying to even the Jaguars maybe. The Chargers are always going to be good with Justin Herbert. But they've got the best defense by they might have the worst offense, but they might have the best. They definitely have the best defense, and it's not even close. I do feel like they do need a little bit more juice on offense, though, to actually win it all. I think so, too. Right now, if I'm going to have to do a prediction for my Super Bowl, I think the Texans make it out of the AFC. And I think it's Texans-Rams. And I think the Rams end up winning it all. I think Matt Stafford rides off into the sunset with an MVP and a Super Bowl ring. And that's how his career comes to a close. But the NFC is it's weaker, but it's not weak by any means. Like the Bears, Rams, and 40. I'm hesitant to put the 49ers in there because they had a rocky start to the season. I don't know if this is just getting hot at the right time for them, which it very well could be. And if it's that, so be it. Like, that's fine. That works oftentimes in this sport. Here we go. CBS. Go into the draft order graphic now. Giants 2-13, hold the number 1 overall pick. Raiders 2-13, hold the number 2 overall pick. The Jets at 3-13, hold the number 3 overall pick. One of those teams, this draft order could be shaken up, and it seems like with 8 minutes to go in this game, the Giants are going to move back and have the second pick. Jackson Dart slipped again. What is this, man? This is the 4th time he's slipped at Allegiant Stadium. Jeez, man, I know the MetLife turf sucks, but what is this grass at Allegiant Stadium, man? He's not even trying to, like, juke or anything. He's just trying to set his feet. Everyone should enjoy this postseason. My boy Patty will be back next winter looking for blood. All right. Mahomes and the Chiefs gonna make a comeback. They need to reload. The thing with Mahomes is you're always going to be competent. You're always going to be competitive. You're always going to have a chance. He's that good of a quarterback, and he's done it with such little help on the outside. But I think the Chiefs have to scale it back a little bit and enter some sort of a rebuild. Here we go. Here's Devin Singletary up ahead with a first down. Giants pick up the first down on 3rd and 9. Another touchdown. This game is done. There a flag on the play? There is. I think the Giants go to 5 in the draft with a win. There's some tiebreaker / strength. The Giants have the strength of schedule. They have the tiebreaker with the strength of schedule. That's why they're number 1 overall right now, and not number 2. That's what I'm seeing. Because on Tankathon right now, the Giants and Raiders have the same record. But the Giants have a 530 strength of schedule where the Raiders have a 541. But the Giants are still number 1 overall. And out of the other teams with a 3-13 record, the Giants have the lowest strength of schedule. So I think it could be something like let's see what the Chiefs' strength of schedule is, because they're gonna have, or the Eagles, because they just won a Super Bowl. Yeah, the Eagles have a 468 strength of schedule. So I think this, I'm not certain on this stat, but I think you want a lower number in that regard, because I don't know, whatever. A team like Tennessee, who's going to have a weak schedule, they were picking number 1 overall last year at the 576. So I think you're a little bit backwards there. Here are the Giants, 1st and 10, 7.5 minutes to play. Dart in a shotgun set. Hands it off to Singletary to the outside. Singletary cuts it back and is dropped after a yard or two. Bills game, 5:50 to go in the 3rd quarter. Still nothing on the board for Buffalo. It's been a struggle offensively. It's really rainy and foggy up there. I don't know if that's had any factors. But the Eagles have put 13 points up, so obviously hasn't been that big of a deal. Dart goes under center. Tracy's the tailback. He gets the handoff, hit at the line of scrimmage, and brought down immediately. Oh, now we got a little scuffle out on the field. This is the 3rd time. It's Raiders-Giants. How are tensions flaring this much? This is the Tank Bowl. I mean, are we getting this mad? Are you serious? It just doesn't seem necessary in a game like this. For everyone to be so mad. Here we go. Knicks going to make it out of the East this year. I was waiting for someone to comment about the Knicks. I think they are. I don't see anyone being better than them. Like where they are right now, the Cavs don't scare me. The Knicks are 2-0 this season against the Cavs. The Knicks destroyed the Cavs a couple years ago, in the postseason, the Cavs don't have the three-point shooting out of their bigs. And the last 2 years, the Knicks finally acquired that when they acquired Karl-Anthony Towns. That's the difference with the Knicks. The Pistons give me the biggest worry because the Knicks don't match up very well with the Pistons. The Pistons are more physical, hard-nosed, where the Knicks are more finesse-oriented. And a lot of times in the NBA playoffs, physicality plays well. But last year, the Knicks were able to do it against the Pistons. Cole minutes have been life-changing. Yeah. And Carson addition is so big for the bench. The difference with this year's team is they have a bench. And I wish I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. I wish I could be in the room with Leon Rose and Mike Brown this offseason for what those conversations were like when they're discussing what we want our roster to be like. Because with Tom Thibodeau, I'm sure he was saying to Leon Rose, all right, let's spend more of our money on the starting lineup. Let's maybe get a good 6-man, 7-man. But those are the only guys we're going. That's how deep we're going in the playoffs. We're not playing 8, 9 guys. And I'm interested to see how deep Mike Brown's rotation will go. But what I know is he has the ability to go 10 men deep. Because when Shamet and McBride come back, you have your starting lineup is Brunson, Hart, McHale. And honestly, what a breath of fresh air has Josh Hart been in the starting lineup. He's so much better playing as a starter rather than a receiver. Oh my God, what a catch in the Bills game. All right, getting back to the Knicks. Your starting lineup is Brunson, Hart, McHale, OG, Cat. That's your 5, right? Then coming off the bench, your 6th man is Mitchell Robinson and Deuce McBride. Those are the 2 guys. They're probably coming in at the same time. And yeah, but yeah, Carson is campaign on steroids. Pistons are going to be tough to beat too. That's the biggest challenge in my opinion. The Celtics are showing a little bit of life without Tatum. Honestly, my biggest worry is Tatum coming back before the year's over. It doesn't make sense for the Celtics to do it because it runs such a high risk of Tatum getting re-injured. But the rotation, Brunson, Hart, OG, McHale, Cat. And that's your starting 5. And then off the bench, you can go Mitch, Deuce at the same time as your 6th and 7th men. Then you go Clarkson, Kolek, Shamet, and you quickly have a 10-guy rotation. Not to mention that Kevin McCullough Jr., I know they were playing the Hawks last night, but he looks like a mini Josh Hart. I know he's not going to play in the playoffs, but he's a guy, if you want to move him at the deadline, teams that saw that performance last night, if I was a fringe contender, if I was the Cavs, I know they're probably not going to trade him to the Cavs because Eastern Conference teams aren't going to trade like that, but that was their issue. The rotation was too small. It's exactly what it is. Tibbs ran everyone down. He wore everyone down. 7-man rotation. Exactly. Tibbs wore everyone down. They had no gas. They had nothing left at the end of the year. Let's see. Is that roughing the passer? Yeah, against the Giants. All right. They're up 17 with 4:30 to go. Offsetting penalties, though. Impressive they went to the comment. Yeah. I agree with that. The one worry I have with this team is that OG is going to get frustrated with his offensive role because with Kolek playing so many minutes, with Clarkson taking so many shots, his role has been lessened. He's sort of the odd man out offensively, where Josh Hart doesn't need the ball to be effective on offense. OG Anunoby is going to lock down the other team's best offensive player 100% of the time. The thing is, if he's not producing on the offensive side of the floor, if he's not hitting his catch and shoot threes, there were a couple takes he had last night where I'm like, that is a grown man. He hit he hit 4 clutch free throws down the stretch of the game last night. The one thing I'm worried about though is that he gets a little bit upset because the bench guys are taking his minutes, his shots, and he's not used to that with Tom Thibodeau at the helm. And that's like a very minor concern. It's nothing pressing in my mind. It's just something that you could keep a little bit of an eye on. Because OG Anunoby doesn't need the basketball to be at his absolute best. But he's such a better player. The Knicks are a better team, I feel like, when OG is scoring. And the other thing with Mike Brown is that he's playing the feel of the game. The thing with Thibodeau, as Dart takes it in for his second rushing touchdown of the game, and the Giants put the cherry on top of a Tank Bowl victory. Giants fans who were in the chat, let me know, were you happy with how this game is going? Are you happy with a win over the Raiders that's going to knock you back to the second overall pick? Or did you want to lose this game? Did you want that number one overall pick in your choice of everyone in the field? But Mike Brown, knowing how to play a game, knowing how to play his opponents, play who's playing well, it kind of makes me think of Aaron Boone. And the New York Yankees, how everyone is so scripted. I wanted them to lose. Yeah, I could see both sides of it. I want to build a culture. The Giants have their quarterback in Jackson Dart. I want to see them succeed with Dart as Sauls knocks through the extra point. Giants lead by 24 points. That's going to do it. No way the Raiders come back. Geno Smith also left the game. I think that was when my computer froze, and the stream went down for a couple minutes. But what I was saying is, the Knicks, when Tom Thibodeau, it felt so scripted how the rotation would play. Because at the end of the game, it was get the ball to Jalen Brunson and get the heck out of the way. It was the starters in there for the entire fourth quarter. There was no iteration on the bench. And if Deuce McBride was 4 for 5 from 3 that night, it didn't matter. He would find his seat at the end of the bench for the fourth quarter. And that's kind of how Aaron Boone is. Like he sticks to his script and what he wants. He won't deviate from it, even if Garrett Cole is at 85 pitches in the sixth inning and dealing. Mike Brown, on the other hand, will stick with Clarkson and Kolek down the stretch if those are the guys that are putting the ball in the basket. That if those are the guys that are scoring and making winning plays. That's what he did in the NBA Cup, and he's continued to do it. Could trade their pick to even get an AJ Brown or Justin Jefferson or something. Yeah, we were talking about it earlier. We were saying since he wants to blow everything up, could the Knicks trade? We're talking hoops now. Could the Giants trade for Jamar Chase to pair with Neighbors? I wouldn't be opposed to that. I don't love AJ Brown. He seems like a problem in the locker room. Justin Jefferson, I'm not opposed to, though. What do you think of the DK Metcalf suspension? Did it affect the Steelers today? For sure. I mean, he's one of their top targets, if not their top target. Do you think it's time for Pittsburgh to move on from Tomlin? So I went on a rant about this earlier in the stream about why I think they absolutely shouldn't, and I'll do it again. Listen, if you're a team that has a 500 an above 500 record every single season, if you're a team that is in the playoffs constantly, what is the reason to move off of your head coach? They have had 3 head coaches in the past 50 years. If you're a Steelers fan, that is something to be proud of. The Giants have had 5 head coaches in the last decade. You need that stability at the head coaching spot. And if the Steelers have that, which they obviously do, they have another winning season and they have a chance to go to the playoffs with a win against Baltimore next week. You can't move off of your guy like that. You just can't do it. It's not in my all right, so I'm a true New York fan. I'm a Knicks fan, I'm a Mets fan, I'm a Giants fan, right? The Mets have sucked outside of a couple of years for the majority of my life. The Giants have sucked outside of 1 or 2 years. I don't remember the 2012 Super Bowl, and I wasn't alive for 2009. So outside of the year where they went to the playoffs a couple times, they sucked. The Knicks outside the past 4 or 5 years have sucked. I have seen so many gosh darn head coaches in my lifetime. You need stability. You need a guy that is going to carry the load. You don't want to keep shuffling bodies in and out. It's not easy to hit on head coaches at the rate that the Steelers have. So no, you can't move off of Mike Tomlin because he is stable. He wins games, and you go to the playoffs. There's no problems with him. There's no issues in the locker rooms. How many beers has your dad had today? Probably too many. Yeah, probably too many. Should the Jets? No, not. Should the Jets fire Glenn after 1 year? You hired him as a first year head coach. You have to let him do his job. Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn couldn't have been expected to take over and just produce winning football immediately. They couldn't take that Jet team, which was a bottom of the barrel football team, and turn them into a winner immediately. I get it. They suck this year. They're probably going to draft within the top 5 again, but you have to give it another year or two for them to do their job. You have to let them continue to work and develop and let their plan go to work. You have to see it through. I know it's hard in the moment. I know it's hard when you're losing at such a high rate, but even if the Jets have Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo and whichever Chris Shula as their defensive coordinator. Well, I said 2 defensive coordinators who insert coach, the best coaches in the league, the best GMs in the league. They weren't going to be good this year. It's just not in the cards. Kenny Pickett is in the game for the Raiders. Kenny Pickett. They weren't going to be good. It wasn't in the stars. There's just not a chance when you're that bad to be a good team after 1 year. They could have been better, I think, but it's a first-time head coach. It's a first-time GM. You have to see it through with the ups and the downs. Pickett evades the pressure. Pump fakes and gets out of bounds after a yard. It'll bring up 4th down. Past the 2-minute warning now in Vegas. Giants have this one all but wrapped up. So it's a win in the Tank Bowl. I don't hate it. Good teams win games. Good teams don't tank. I know the Giants are going to look very different next year. They're going to have a clean house of coaches. But it's a win. As a fan, you can never be mad at a win. And even if it is the Tank Bowl, which determined your draft slot for this year, you can't be mad at it. What about our Mets? How would you grade their offseason? All right. The Mets, I can't put a grade on it yet because there's still so much that's going to happen. I have a feeling David Stearns is just getting cooking, and I know it's the new year, and January is going to go by fast, and February as well, and we're going to get to pitchers and catchers before you know it. But David Stearns has a plan, and you have to trust it, and he hasn't executed on everything. So as of right now, I'm going to give it like a C. But because at the end of the day, no, it's a B minus. It's a B minus, rather. At the end of the day, and I think a lot of the guys that the Mets got rid of are romanticized. It's McNeil, it's Alonso, it's Diaz, it's Nimmo. Those are guys that I grew up with. Those were like my teams. So it sucks seeing them go. Yeah, let's get off the bat at New York football. I don't even know if the Mets are going to be good this year, though. So it sucks to see those guys go. But it's something that had to happen. Now, on the flip side, I don't know if bringing in Devin Williams was the answer. I don't know if bringing in Marcus Semien was the answer. Like, those guys, it just seems like too marginal of moves to really replace the production of Diaz and McNeil and Alonso, who leads your franchise in home runs. The franchise leader, the greatest power hitter your franchise has ever seen. There's something that has to continue. There's something else. You need more. You can't be done yet. But they are steps in the right direction if the Mets can execute on their next plan. And I will say, I think the Mets should sign Bellinger. I think he would fit well in the lineup. You can play him in the outfield, or you can play him at first if your prospects aren't ready. But that's the thing that nobody's talking about, that the Mets have such a good farm system. They're ranked top 5 in the sport of baseball. They've got guys all over the field that are almost ready to come up. Pitchers, first basemen, outfielders, an influx of middle infielders. That's the other thing. They've got to make a decision on who they're going to keep, whether it's going to be Mauricio, Beatty, or Vientos. They've got to move off of one or two of those guys. And that'll really be the defining factor of where they're going in the future, what kind of team they're going to look like. Raiders going for it on 4th and 6 here. Kenny Pickett out of the pocket. He's going to rush for this. And he's going to have a first down. The New Jersey native Kenny Pickett is a flag on the play. It's going to be coming back. It's offensive holding against the Raiders. But Kenny Pickett showing some flashes. Agreed, I trust Stearns. Let's go get Tucker. Yeah, let's go get Tucker. Let's get Bellinger. Let's get everyone. Why not? Steve Cohen's got the deepest pockets in all of baseball. Why not take advantage of them? Yeah, it was an offensive hold. Wow. I could tell even before before they made that call. You could see it. Whenever the quarterback's like, they're not celebrating, you know what's coming back. And that's the kind of call that would happen on that play. So 4th and 16, offense stays out there. They have to at this point. Pickett fires. It's complete. Not enough for a first down, though. The Giants probably need a first down to enter victory formation. But up 24, maybe the Raiders won't call their timeouts. They've got three left. But the Giants get a win. I trust Leon. I trust Stearns. Hey, the brain trust of the Mets and Knicks right now is supposed to be really good. You got to trust in those guys. Who would the... Okay, that's not happening. I think everybody on their roster and everybody in their farm system, and you can't even trade picks in baseball, but every pick they have for the next 50 years, and it still wouldn't be enough. The Dodgers are not going to trade Shohei Ohtani. So yeah, Giants going to sit down in victory formation. That's a victory. The Giants get their first road win of the year. We'll get a victory Monday. Yeah, Pete Carroll's not going to call his timeouts. He's just going to let this one ride out. All right, the Giants win. They'll have the 2nd overall pick in the draft if they lose next week, which I assume they will. They lost once to Dallas, even though it was a good game. They lost once to Dallas earlier this year. I assume they're going to do it again. They had Malik Neighbors in that game as well. So, yeah, I'm not mad at it. You can't be mad at a win. You can't argue with a win. That's the thing. So, Giants win 34-10 is your final. They beat the Raiders. Some signs from the defense. The offense looked good, 34 points. You're going to win a lot of football games. And only giving up 10, you're also going to win a lot of football games. That's Mike Kafka's first win as interim head coach. It took him long enough. Giants' 3rd win of the season. I mean, it's not pretty. It's not a pretty year. But now the question is, do you trade back or do you stand pat at 2 overall and take? It'll probably be Arvell Reese out of Ohio State. That's projected right now. It could also be someone else, but that's it. All right, we're in the 4th quarter of this Eagles game. Eagles lead 13-0. I might not stay. I don't know if I'm going to stay live. Let's see. Any last questions in the chat as the Giants win? I'm not mad at it. They'll get their first pick. They'll get who they want because the Raiders are going to draft Mendoza and the Giants weren't going to take a quarterback. That's the story. And that's all it is. So the Giants are going to take whoever they wanted. I think the allure of getting the number 1 overall pick more was you can get a lot more trading back from number 1 overall than you're going to get trading back from number 2. Because the clear top target of Mendoza is already going to be off the board. So the Giants aren't going to get a whole lot. They're going to get a good amount because there is another quarterback projected to be taken 3rd overall now. Wow, Tankathon was quick to update that. They already have this switch up of the 1 and 2 overall pick. Yeah, the Jets are expected to take Dante Moore out of Oregon 3rd overall. But that's the only other quarterback in the top. Let's see, when's the next quarterback? Holy heck. Yeah, there's only 2 quarterbacks that are expected to be taken in the 1st round, and they're both expected to go in the top 3 picks. All right, good stream. Giants win it 34-10. They won't have the number 1 overall pick anymore. That's fine, though. I'm not mad at it. They get a win in the Tank Bowl. I'm Ben Malley. Make sure you follow, subscribe, share, comment, like. Go check out all my socials. I don't know if they're linked in the description. But if you go on my channel, I think it should be linked somewhere on my channel. So go make sure you check everything out. We're going to get on the Instagram game because this stream was supposed to be on Instagram, but apparently you need 1,000 followers on Instagram to go live, which I didn't know because it must be a new rule because I've gone live in the past. But whatever. So we're going to get on the Instagram grind. We're going to try to get our next 509 followers quicker than we got the first 491. But make sure you go check that out. Also, please leave me voicemails at 848 848-805-8073. Again, that's 848-805-8073. It's something I think that could be really cool if we can incorporate it more into the episodes. So go do that. I'll react to the episodes in like my next episode after you leave the voicemail, and make sure you keep it locked with the Sports Pod.